Hello, we are back. Welcome back.
Hello.
I got to stop saying welcome back, Hassan, because it's just it's you're a regular at least. I mean, we
It's
haven't
gonna
made a
be
partnership yet, but
Hassan here again. Why is he here?
because everybody loves Hassan, the
No, get
positivity,
out
the
of here.
smile, the
I
charm,
appreciate it.
the good
Uh,
stories. Anyways, yes, there's it's probably endless the stuff I hear back about you. So super happy that you came back. You know, and we get to celebrate. This will be episode 82 now. We got
woo!
we're up to 68 subscribers. We had some challenges laid down to hit, try to get to 100 vlogs by the end of the year, which is basically like two per month. So if I could stop flipping between provinces every other week, I could probably get to that. But anyways, I'm super excited again to chat with you. Anytime I get a time to chat with you, I'm always excited and pumped up. So excited about our topic today that you want to bring forward.
Absolutely, Jason. It's truly a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to getting to number 100. And for context, for those people who don't know why that's topical, Jason shared this really beautiful post on LinkedIn about you can't get to your 100th podcast without doing your first. You can't get to that level unless you take the first step. Definitely the ancient saying of it, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So with the 100th podcast being such a number thrown out there. The goal is to reach that 100 before years
Yes.
out. And definitely, I think we could do something really fun to celebrate for 100. Who knows? I might even fly down to see Jason and make it even better that way. So finally meet in person.
Man, no
Um,
doubt.
Jason, I have a quote for us today, and I'd love to
Yes.
get your thoughts on it. So I find that today when we look at anything, I know in the last few conversations we've had, we've been looking at job markets, layoffs, things like that. Very topical time to be afraid.
Yep.
Everyone's
Yeah.
afraid, right? The cost of living is one thing, the job and how you overcame it. So without further ado, here we go.
All right.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Fear is that we are more powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. We are all meant to shine as children do. And when we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated by our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Yes. Yes. Well, where to start? I mean, yeah, fear. There's another quote, and I'll butcher it because that's what I do. You're definitely the quote guy. Um, fear fear will destroy dreams before failure ever does is also another way to look at it, right? Um, and I think you know it's the mind, right? The mind is so powerful, and a lot of the times you have self doubt, and the mind is just like it injects fearful thoughts into the future of what ifs that generate more fear, right? You decide like, hey, I'm gonna change my career, right? My I've been doing X for 20 years. It's everything I know. And the mind, and so you have this like positivity, you have this glow, like, yes, I'm inspired to start something new. And then you're like, oh, what's it gonna be? So there's the first thing. Well, I don't know what it's going to be. And then, oh, well, maybe it takes a little bit of time. You find something, you're like, hey, I want to go into real estate, or I want to go into sales, I want to go into marketing, I want to go into IT, I want to go into coding, whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden, the negative, fear trickles in through many ways, but I feel it triggers in from negative thoughts, right? It's like, oh, well, you can't do that. All you've ever done is this for 20 years. You're a sales guy. That's all you can do. Marketing. How are you going to afford that? You can't go back to school. You've got
Mm,
bills to pay. And so I think sometimes fear um, is what we think, but it's actual negative thoughts that are underlining from the fear. But fear is really, really powerful, and I there's so many times that like I mean we're both fathers, so like even going back to his simple as fatherhood, maybe it's not simple, but going back to fatherhood, it's like, oh, like when your wife or your partner is pregnant and you're just like, oh crap, I'm gonna be a dad. That's
Oh
fear.
yeah.
Right? You're like, I'm gonna be responsible for a child in this world. Oh my goodness. Like, okay,
That is
okay.
definitely the first time I think there's any fear a man's ever faced in his life, but when that actual first thing hits your ears, that's a different kind of fear altogether. But sorry, continue. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and so you think about the things in life and impacts in life, like that to me is one of the biggest ones, especially when you're like, there's no, I mean, there's 1,000 books on it, but like nothing can still prepare you once baby comes out and you're like, this
Mhm.
is my responsibility. Wow. Because from that generates other fears, right? Like I have to be able to pay the bills. I need to have a roof over my head. They need formula. They need these clothes. They like it just
Mm.
again, the mindset just blows up. The fear blows up. And so to me there's fear all over the place, right? Jumping out of a plane, it's like you start thinking of the reasons why you shouldn't. Bungee jumping, I think you said you bungee jump once, which is nuts, but all these things, it's just like you're up on that bridge or on that tower or wherever you're hanging from, and it's like, oh my goodness, what was I thinking, and then you either jump or you don't. But anyways, it's really, really powerful. And I'd like to hear, one story of fear that really sticks out to you.
So while you were chatting, I was pulling something up and it's just sending over right now. It actually is a video of my bungee jump, so I don't mind sharing it right
Mm!
now. And I'll definitely speak to it. There, here, hopefully it opens up.
For the record, this is not scripted, but that was really well played out.
No, definitely not. I mean, I didn't even think you were gonna mention, let alone remember it. So I was like, oh,
Yep.
what a great opportunity to do this.
Hmm.
Um, Here we go. All right. So I'll quickly share my screen
Yeah.
and you guys can let me share. Let's include sound. Let's have some fun with this.
I want to hear some screams.
All right, let's go here then. Ah, So this is the
Look.
Great Canadian Bungee in Ottawa. Can you see the screen, Jason?
Yep, I'm good.
Awesome. So here's the beauty of the entire thing. So I'll get to kind of right here.
Oh
So
man.
this is me by the bridge. So I want to draw attention to your eyes over here. You're supposed to put half your feet over the edge, and you're
Yeah.
supposed to have it holding there. So that's me negotiating my way out of the situation. Hey, what if you pull me? What if I hold on to this and I can lean back? And he's telling me to move forward, and I do. And there's a natural instinct to step back. So I'm moving
Oh
forward,
yeah.
and then I step right back here. And this is where, I mean, all praise to the team there. They were very encouraging, motivating, at times insulting of, hey, man, come on. I saw like a 90-year-old grandma do this yesterday. So whatever it takes to get you off this thing. And then we go over here. Here we go.
Mm.
And all you hear.
Oh, you're killing me.
I want to make one
Oh,
note very clear. People say, was that you screaming like a girl? There was another woman on the edge that was
I
screaming, and
figured.
their voice frequently comes up. But my wife hears it; she cracks up every time. She's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, next time you want to be a man, I have some evidence here." Um, Fun video. I don't mind sharing the story about it. So my cousin
Yeah.
Anusha, she was really big on bungee jumping. For me, I'm a skydiving kind of guy,
Mm.
and bungee jumping was just not on my bucket list. She did it. She had a blast. Didn't even count it down. She kind of just strapped up, and before they could even tell her, she just kind of ran and jumped. And
Mm.
like, oh well, that's over. Bungee
Mm-hmm.
jumping was terrifying to me because it's skydiving. If you have a tandem, you have a guy on your back, right? And
Yes.
the way skydiving works is that you're depending if like in the plane I was on, I was seated, so I kind of inched my way
Mm.
out, and the way before I could
Mm-hmm.
even look out, the wind's in my face, I can't really see, and before I blinked, I'm out, right? And so that's where it's like you don't even have time to be afraid. And
Yeah.
bungee jumping, as you guys saw, there is like, oh, like you step forward, you step back. Um, and so my cousin and she was like, "Hey, you gotta go, you gotta go." I was like, "I'm going this weekend," and I made every excuse in the book, and thank God I didn't end up going. But she's like,
Mm.
"Oh, like I'll go again with you," and she was really insistent. And lo and behold, she's so sneaky. When I booked it, it's not in front of them. Okay, can you go? Oh, I actually can't make it that weekend. You're going, and I'm like, "What? It's not even my bucket list. You're gonna make me do this without you?" And so I remember I went, and I'll share
Sneaky.
something that Will Smith shared on his skydiving experience.
Mm-hmm.
This obviously predated the Oscar event, so take it with a grain of salt. Topical. He was giving this speech about his skydiving experience and how it related to fear.
Mm.
So he makes his plan to go skydiving, same as I made my plan to go bungee jumping. He's with his friends to get hyped. He goes home, and that night he gets the worst sleep of his life. He's like, "What the
Oh,
heck
yes.
was I thinking?"
Yeah.
Then the next morning, they're out for breakfast, and he's barely eating. Then he drives to the site. They do the training. He goes up there, and the moment of impact to jump, that's where all the fear is gone. And then he flies, and he feels bliss.
Yeah.
And his biggest summary was like, "Why was I afraid the night before?" At the restaurant, nothing had happened. Why was I afraid of my bed? There was no immediate danger around me. Why did I let this one moment capture so many hours of my time? And
Yeah.
that's sort of the relationship I find with fear is that it's so much anticipation of what the unknown is. And the tricks that your brain plays with you. It's like,
Yeah.
what if the cord snaps? What if,
Yes.
like, what if this happens? What if that happens? And here's on the flip side of things. So if someone's out there is trying to do a daring thing and you find yourself being afraid, just know that's your body doing something called common sense. Common sense says you don't go to the edge of a cliff and lean
Yes.
forward. Your body holding you back is a common sense reaction. So I want to make that very clear. But what I do want to say in the relationship of fear is that being afraid is a natural instinct. Like you're walking by,
Yeah.
huh, I got startled, or oh, bug, rat, whatever frightens you. But
Yeah.
fear, from the point of being afraid to the threshold of fear, is a choice. And the
Right.
longer you sit there, everything you do, if it's rooted in that, impacts how your life is lived. And that's where I think people can get confused, where it's like, oh, am I a
Yeah.
bad human being for being afraid? And you're not. Right? Like
No.
these quotes aren't designed to make people feel crappy about the way they live their lives, but rather it's like you can live your life, and if you're comfortable, do it out of a place of I'm doing want to be here. But if
Yeah.
I'm living this life, I'm staying in this job because I'm so afraid of what's out there, that's the moment you need to tell yourself to do it. And that's why I did bungee
Yeah.
jumping. It wasn't on my bucket list to do. But because I was afraid to do it, I was like, I don't ever want fear to be the reason as to why something wasn't done. I'd rather be done where I was disinterested or it was something authentically to me, but never out of I was afraid of this and therefore I didn't approach it. And I think the last comment I'll make on it is the greatest things in life exist on the other side of fear. And I can say that with full confidence in my heart. Um, on a personal note, on my last story of fear, and then I'll definitely hand up because I want to hear some Jason stories. I had to make right with somebody after I'd done something wrong. I
Mm.
upset someone, and now I have to work up the courage to send them a text, say, "Hey, can we get a phone call? Can I apologize to you?" And there was so much fear and sweat and anxiety of, man, just leave it be. Are they even going to care? It's such a small thing. What's the
Mm.
point? But on
Yeah.
the other side of that fear, sorry, I guess I'll quantify it this way. The fear was of the following: how will they react? What if
Right.
they're angry? What if this
Yep.
escalates? What if this is worse than the actual crime I did. Like, what if this causes all these things? And that
Yep.
was the fear. But here's what the on the other side of it. Number one, I no longer have something in my heart keeping me up at night.
Yes.
The other thing is I get to go to sleep feeling like the man that did the right thing. Like,
Yep.
fine, I did something wrong, but I did everything in my control and my power to do something right. And on the other side of this fear is freedom of burden of guilt. There
Yep.
is character development in terms of
Yes.
integrity, accountability, honor. And it's just a great lesson where, you know what? I did something messed up. I have to apologize for it. This feeling sucked. This will be a great reminder if I ever come near the situation again where I don't want to have to do this again. So
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
greatest things in life live on the other side of fear.
Yes.
So with that, I'd love to get some Jason stories. And I know you shared this great image. So if you whenever you want me to pull that up, it's ready to go.
Yeah.
So with that, it's yours.
Well, let's start with that image because, again, we had this plan of talking about fear. I don't. I feel like it was a couple weeks ago. You sent me the quote, and then Gary V ended up posting on LinkedIn this week, and it was like, and you know, I said a screenshot, but the globes were moving. He obviously has some budget around his LinkedIn, but just imagine those two globes were actually spinning at the exact same time. Just envision it. And I thought it was a great visual where the world don't care, right? Like, no matter what you do, the world's going to continue spinning and doing its thing, and life's going to go on, and the world's going to go on, and yeah. So I thought his quote was very simple and to the point, and it's all within ourselves. That fear is contained within ourselves. Nobody else. Person beside you doesn't care. I mean, maybe they care, but the world will go on no matter what if you don't jump on it. So yeah, I think you're spot on with again like the mind is looking forward and it's creating like what if scenarios, what if, and I think with that you build up more anxiety, more stress, and then often whatever is the fear is sometimes fractions of a second. Sometimes it's fractions of a minute. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Like, and then you're just like, ooh, like, and then there's,
Mm,
depending what it is, like, there's a sense of relief. There's a sense of growth. There's a sense of gratitude. There's a sense of that pride. Like
mm,
depending what the fear was, like in your example of just maybe you did something wrong and you want to own it, and you feel all this pent up pain and stress, and you can't sleep, and you got to get it out, and then boom, whatever those emotions are after are usually a high versus a low. Like the fear is just like crushing your brain and your heart and your soul, and you get anxiety and stress. And then once it's over, immediately shoot up. It doesn't matter how it went. Thank goodness your skydiving and your bungee jumping ended well for you. But the second you landed, or the second I don't know what they do in bungee jumping, pull you back up or pick you up in a boat, that, like, I guarantee your emotions were just through the roof, right? Like just through the roof. Like, wow, I just did that. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so, and you just go, 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 go. I want to do that again, is often kind of the thing. So it's a big, big swing of emotions too, once you get through that. So I totally agree there. Um, probably I'll go, I talk a lot about leadership, and I've been managing people for a long time, 25 years or so, give or take, whatever. Um, and let me tell you, you're going to have to fire some people, right? It's just,
mm,
I've been in sales. It's, I've been very performance based for most of my life. You got to hit the numbers every single month, hit the numbers, hit the numbers, hit the numbers, hit the numbers. Hey, guess what? It's not for everybody, and not everybody wins. And you do your best to coach and coach and coach. Well, guess what? sometimes it still fails, right? And some people do fail. So I can tell you, when I was a very, very young new leader, I had to terminate someone, right? There was some problems and some concerns, and like, you go through the steps and the motions to get everything kind of dealt with and documented and prep, but then the mind goes off, like just off. And so I'm like, I'm talking like this person's on vacation. This is one of my first people that I had to fire, and it will always stay in my mind because I would like, the plan was like, oh, they're on vacation next week. Okay, so when they get back from vacation, give it a couple more days because like that's kind of rude. I mean, there's no great time to fire anyone. And so all this time was going by, and my brain was just, I was stressed. I had like heartburn. I was thinking, my mind was thinking, how are they going to react? Are they going to punch me? Are they going to freak out? Are they going to like stalk me? Are they going to throw something at me? The mind
Mm.
created 1,000 examples of what was going to happen to me. And because the timeline was really long, my mind just kept going and going and going on the what if. So get to the day, and I like, I'm a very emotional person. Person walks in, gets ready for work, and they just know there's something wrong with me because I'm literally like, like a week of no sleep, and I'm just like freaking out, and just, yeah, you come to the back room, sit down with them, and I I was so tunnel vision at that point, so I don't even know really what I said. But then I remember this part of it. After I eventually got out, whatever I had to say, they're like, "All good, boss." He's like, "I was expecting this. You were all good. I don't take it personally, and appreciate all your time. And we're okay. Talk to you later. Appreciate you." And then I was like,
Wow.
"What? What? No, no. That, that was It's never easy. I'll tell you this. 25 years later, never found it easy to fire anyone. I never will. It's not in me. I think if anybody thinks it's easy to fire someone, probably shouldn't be a people leader. But but either way, even though it was a really, really negative scenario, boom, like I was just like, whoo, release. I felt relief, and I was just like, wow, okay, so like, yeah, okay, like it could have been bad, but it wasn't. And so I think, again, there's just so much power in our brains, and fear is such a um, if you can harness it, good, right? If you can't, which I think a lot of us struggle with, then because we create what if scenarios all the time, a lot of us do, it can be pretty bad. So um, what I will dovetail into um, is what I think is a good um, solution or tool, which I don't know if you've ever heard of Mel Robbins. She's a podcaster. She's got several books. And I don't read much. I read actually very little. But one of her books was 5 second rule, and it is literally like, you have 5 seconds and you say yes or no, right? It's just, so same with your bungee jumping. It's like, you're on the top there, and literally you could have said no. Like, you could have been like,
Mhm.
I'm out. But in that moment, you went, am I going to do this or am I not going to do this? And if you can get into a spot where you're like, do it, just like yes or no, give yourself 5 seconds. That's all you got, right? Oh, should I go to the gym today? Yes, I'm going to the gym. And so I think when you have, you don't have to fester, and there's a huge amount of time in between. I think the 5 second rule can really come into play as like a, just get over it. Like, if you've got fears of asking this girl for a number, or just whatever it may be, like, friends going out bungee jumping. Like, hey, bro, let's go this weekend, and you're just like, yes. Oh, damn it. Okay, I'm committed. That's it. And don't look back. Just move forward. I think it's. I certainly try to do it in a lot of different ways. Use that rule, but I think with fears, it's a great one to get and use when you're in that spot.
Honestly, Jason, one of the things I love about what you said was that the importance of that 5 seconds, right? Because sometimes in life, we don't have the luxury to think and calculate everything through.
Yep.
Time is such a luxury that we don't really kind of forego, and sometimes you got to make that decision 5 seconds in and out. You and I are both family men, right?
Yes.
It's like, hey, your partner asks, hey, you going to the gym today? Because if not, I have errands to do. Yeah, 5 seconds, quick. Yeah, I do. Great. We'll pivot. And if you took too long, guess what? Like that day is gone and you have
Yep.
to own it because taking
Yeah.
a decision and not taking a decision is still a decision, right?
Yes.
Which I know people can overthink and fracture their brains over it. I know I
Yeah.
have a few times, but
Yeah.
definitely that importance of in those 5 seconds you made a decision and standing by it. I think that's the
Hmm.
one important thing where you can never have that time back to revisit and take back a decision, but taking pride in the fact that you know what, I made a decision. There's something to be said about that.
Yes.
I think in the professional environment, I remember there's an IT situation that had happened to a friend of mine at their company. And me and my buddy, we were driving, and he's like, "Oh, hey, my work is calling. Do you mind if you just turn the music off?" Sure. But I'm hearing this conversation on Boom, and I'm hearing this leader come on the phone, like, "Hey guys, we had an IT situation. What happened?" It's like, "Oh, well, 3 days ago at 12 o'clock, it stopped working, so we just didn't know what to do." And so the leader is like, "It took 3 days, and what did you guys do?" "Oh, we tried rebooting, we tried all these things." But the biggest upsetness of the leader, it wasn't the fact that things failed. It wasn't the fact that things went up and running. The anger was you really did nothing for three
Hmm.
days, and the
Hmm.
inaction. That's something where it's like, crap, I should have done something. But it's like if someone said, you know what, boss, I took a go. I created this code that was in like a very early phase, but I just took a chance and it did this. I feel
Yeah.
like it breeds its own level of anger. It's like, all right, what are you thinking? But at least you did something. Because if you look at
Yeah.
the rage of this guy tried something and this guy didn't try something,
Yep.
night and day.
Yeah.
um,
100%. 100%.
I will I will speak to one thing, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. So
Hmm.
I've landed a new role, and there's this one
Yes. Want to
man
talk about
I've
that?
landed. His name's Hisham Shafi, and he's a man who speaks about goodness frequently. And one of the things he
Okay.
talks about is that if you lead with goodness, you can make good decisions. So goodness for yourself, your team members, but even your clients and even your business, right? Like,
Yep.
so let's talk about your situation where you have to let someone go on the sales team, right?
Yep.
And it's for the good of the business. You've done your training, you put your goodness forward there. But if you lead from an internal place of, you know what, like I'm letting you go for the good of everyone, for the good of yourself. If you're not successful here, then we're not really looking after your interests either. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, the business has these needs, our clients and our vendors have these needs. Goodness all over. If you
Yeah.
had reframed yourself as, you know what, for the good of the world and the universe, I'm about to do this thing. It's gonna suck, but it's goodness. It's like broccoli, Brussels sprouts. It sucks, but it's good. you know,
Yes.
would that have been if that was your mindset, would that have dulled any of the fear and anticipation? Or do you think, obviously, these are hypotheticals, we can never truly
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but do you think a framework stepping outside of fear and a repositioning of the mind would have made the experience less daunting leading up to the event?
Oh, 1,000%. Because you've already mentioned a couple things in there too, right? Um, where like and so again, like I created these fears, like because also self-reflected too. I'm like, was I a good enough leader? Was I, this and that? And if you turned it around to like, hey, like the positives of for the business, the positives for customers, the positives for that person, absolutely. Like, like why if someone's not good in sales, like like tell them, right? Like, hey, and guess what? Like in that particular case, he actually found a path that was much, much better for him. Um, and he's been very successful, right? But if again, um, cut it off, right? Like you could have spent 10 years doing that job and not being really great at
Mm.
it. And so yeah, like if I had the mindset to like flip it around and take it positive, I think I probably would have been smiling too much as I was about to let him go. Like, this is great for you.
No, definitely
Uh,
not.
definitely not. But in my mind, it would have been an easier battle, which at that point, no chance, no chance. So yes, I think in that moment, yeah, as I reflect now into kind of my more experienced leadership, I definitely see, I put the business first a lot of times. I like, customer experience. I probably don't necessarily get to them necessarily as what's good for them, because that might be a little bit harder. But I could see that really turning the fear off and giving some rest in what you're about to do.
Absolutely. Jason,
Yeah,
I
it's a good
want
call.
to end on this note here, and it kind of wraps up with the quote that we began with, right? Because we talk about our deepest fears that were more powerful beyond measure. Let's look at your
Hmm.
incident where you had to let someone go. You've probably felt so small and like you're like, man, how could I do this? This thing is so above me. But you had the power to do it. You had the
Yeah.
power to do hard things. And I think that's one of the greatest things about humans is that we have the power to do remarkable. And I think that sometimes frightens us because if we don't do it, are we really living up to potentials? Are we really living to what we need to be doing? So the fact
Mm.
that you were able to overcome that, phenomenal. But I want to end it on this portion of it here. And
Okay.
it's you're playing small does not serve the world where elementary science children do. And this is the part where I want to ask you. And when we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Has there ever been a moment when you were afraid to do something, you overcame it, but somehow someone around you felt liberated to try to do the same? You were shy to talk to that girl, and you walked up to her, you got her number, and you gave all the other Jason Lambert's hope, like, yo, I can do this. Like, was there any circumstance where you overcame a fear and it was your own journey? You didn't do it to showcase it to anyone else in the world, but somehow you liberated others to do the same.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is on episode, what did I say? 82 right now. Um, I, I started doing vlogs with my dog, walking up the mountains, and at first I was like, okay, press the video, and it was really bad, of course, and don't look back. And it was maybe like 2 minutes, and it was like, okay, now it's on my phone. I did the recording part, and then I'm like, I don't, I don't want to watch it because I'm gonna criticize myself. So then the next fear was like, I'm actually gonna post this into the World Wide Web. Like, I'm exposing myself. I'm like, maybe I could get fired. Maybe I say something wrong. Maybe the trolls will come after me. Maybe I'll get canceled. And upload, just do it. And then I'm like, okay, it's done. It's done. Okay. Views, 0. Okay. 2 hours later, 0. Okay. 5 hours later, 0. You know what? I'm going to post this on LinkedIn. Like, okay, I did the first part. It's on YouTube. Now I'm going to expose it to like the context I have in my business life. I also posted it on Facebook, and I'm just like, here it is, you know. And so that was a long time ago, and certainly I'm a lot more comfortable now, I feel. Um, but I know, based on feedback, people came to me and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to try that." And I have a friend that's just recently is started his own vlog on sports. He's a huge sports guy,
Wow.
and he's just like, I've always wanted to do this, and I'm going to do it. I'm not sure if he always wanted to do it, but he's doing it now. So don't quote me on that one. But and he's doing awesome. I just freaking love it. I'm just like, um, and I think other people have come to me and they've said that they want to do it and they're doing it now. And some are just doing podcasts, some are doing blogs. So I think for me, there was certainly a lot of internal fears when I first started. And then the second one was like, okay, didn't get fired. So let's try another one. Oh, does anybody want to listen to what I have to say? And then you get a couple comments, you get a little bit of feedback. A couple months later at a meeting, and someone's like, "Yeah, Jason's thoughts." I'm like, "Okay." So the fear starts to dissipate, and you just you hope to bring some value. But yeah, I think that'd be if I didn't use that as an example, I would be shooting myself a little bit short there. So
Wow. And definitely on the light that you liberated others on, sure, there's a direct consequence of someone else starting their own podcast, right? I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
I did this and they're not doing this. But then you also touched on it at the tail end of it there, where someone's like, hey, I saw it,
yeah,
right? Like it's like you're now liberating them. It's like, whoa, I see this guy doing this and he's sharing these thoughts. I would love to be able to start to do this in another realm of my life, whether it is
yeah,
directly in a realm of record,
yeah,
post, share, or it could
yeah,
be simply just, I'm going to share my thoughts in this meeting.
yeah,
Like I'm going to
yeah,
share my thoughts with a buddy of mine. He says some things, I want to share my thoughts too,
yeah,
whatever it is and how that takes form. So I think definitely great example, as especially number 82, man. Without number one, uh, we wouldn't be here.
no, that's certainly true. And I think through those transitions too, I discovered how to find my true self in my work and my personal life. And I also think that I think that influences people too to go, hey, like maybe I can be myself. Maybe I'm masking a little bit too. And this guy seems like he's the same guy in both places. So lots of ways to that it, I hope continues to help.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, listen, man, that's it from me. Do you have any closing comments on fear or any questions? Like what are your closing remarks?
Just man, I have a million, but Mel Robbins, 5 Second Rule, great book. It's really helped me not just in dealing with fear, but just in life. Just go for it. Life's short. Like, if you got something in front of you, take 5 seconds, say yes, say no, stick with your decision. Um, and mostly, it's back to the quote that I said, like, if you have a dream, don't let fear kill it before the failure of that dream happens, right? I've got a couple of really, really good friends that both had aspirational goals to start their own businesses. They were with big organizations, making big bank, and they for sure there was fears of failure, and now both of them are building up their businesses. One's been 7 8 years in the business and super successful, and the other one's just starting, like he's a startup company, and a lot of times startup companies, like, they really really struggle, and they overcame their fears. So uh, don't let fear in this thing uh, crush your dreams, right? Go for it. Just build build a plan, make sure it's really foolproof, get some feedback, and go for it. Don't let fear take over your world.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Hassan, as always, really good conversation. Um, Again, we could probably I could certainly talk for like 2 hours about fears
Oh,
and go in a whole
100%.
bunch of different ways and a bunch of different stories that I'm pretty wimpy, so I got a lot of fears, but it was a great conversation. Again, great quotes, great feedback, and great scream down at the end of that bungee jump. So until next time, my friend, really wish you success in your new role and continued success in your new role. And I hope to chat soon, again soon.
Awesome, Jason. Appreciate your time. Take care.
All right.